Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Law of attraction and the concept of selfishness kind of gets confusing for a lot of people, and I wanted to kind of spend some time talking on this and see if I can help sort of explain where selfishness does come into play and where selfishness doesn't, kind of help us look into it a little deeper so we can figure out where we're falling on this. And then really an important little point to bring out and why I'm doing this show is sometimes when we're coming at manifestations from the wrong direction, and I mean kind of more from a universal standpoint, if you will, we can tend to sometimes create situations, one, that are unfavorable, kind of almost start manifesting almost the opposite because of karmic reasons, right? Because you're asking for very selfish things to happen because of that. Certain other things are happening to you, and sometimes it's very confusing. You can also find that it will make it more difficult to manifest things when they're sort of out of harmony with the good of all or the good of many. I've talked about it before in other shows. I can't even remember who all said this author-wise. There's been a few of them for sure. But really, the more people that your manifestation benefits, the better, right? So if it just helps you and nobody else, I mean, if it doesn't hurt anybody else, that's a cool manifestation, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But again, it's just one person being helped. If you're trying to do something that could benefit you and maybe your significant person and maybe children involved and maybe your parents and their parents, right? Like there starts to become this family idea and this larger concept. Well, that's actually a manifestation that's benefiting multiple people. So there's something to be said about kind of the purpose behind your manifestation, if you will. So, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying the universe seems to favor stuff that tends to benefit more people or stuff that tends to be a little more of a positive nature, meaning not a needy, not selfish in the negative sense. So let's talk about this a little bit. So hopefully this makes some sense for ourselves. Now, law of attraction, just on the very nature of itself, is manifesting. It's taking ownership of your own life. It's focusing on you. So there's a lot of people just from the very get-go that are like, well, LOA it's selfish. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't be worried about yourself. You should be more altruistic with your life. You should always be looking to see how I can help everybody else, but certainly not myself. Now, there's a lot to be said about altruism. Don't get me wrong about trying to help others. But I do want to say also that when it comes to, say, like a plane when the oxygen masks come down, or maybe a drowning victim, for example, when the oxygen masks come down, you need to put yours on first before you help a child. Though, many would argue that keeping the child alive is probably more important than an adult, right? If given the choice to save an adult or a child, let's save the child. The child's got so much life ahead of them. But in the case of putting on your own mask, it keeps you from dying so you can actually assist others. So in that case, selfishness is actually altruistic. It's actually helpful for the greater good. By you being selfish and focusing on yourself to make sure you're in a good place, you are now in a place where you're able to assist others. Same said about a drowning victim, right? Drowning victims will climb on you to get above you, and they will push you under the water. So if you are A, not a strong enough swimmer, B, not capable of really taking charge of a situation when there is a drowning victim, or, in a position where maybe you can hold on to the side or something, you need to understand how people like that behave, and you've got to be in a good, safe place yourself before you can actually help that drowning victim. Again, otherwise you are going to get pushed under, and you're the person that's going to drown. So making sure that we have our lives taken care of is actually a very important component of what we're offering the universe, what we're offering a relationship, what we're offering to people that we're close to. It's what we're bringing to the table. It's who we are, right? So when we've got aspects of ourselves, say maybe if you're a man, for example, and you're going to be a, quote, provider, and I don't mean to use very stereotypical roles because everyone is working these days, and I don't really think anybody should be the provider. I don't think we need to wear labels like that anymore. Life is changing, right? People are people, and we're all trying to do our own parts and get along and do things and be proud of ourselves and whatever. You can be a parent at home, still do YouTube videos, right? You can still have your own career. You can take calls. You can do all sorts of things. So there's no real place in the world now where these roles really need to exist, right? So taking care of ourselves, what we're bringing to the table. Am I making enough money for this relationship to help? Am I going to help really give us some financial freedom so we can maybe spend time vacationing and doing things that I want to do? Because this is part of the relationship I'm hoping to manifest. Again, we're just talking in broad terms now, but am I being selfish? Am I not? So when you're bringing more to the table, it's not selfish. Even though you're focusing on self and trying to make things happen in your life, you're not necessarily doing it in any sort of negative way. You're doing it in more of that kind of positive way by helping myself and being a good person in general, right? I mean, you could make gobs of money and then be very selfish about it and never give anybody money. All right, well, that's not cool. But again, it's one of those things. Like, it's just what we're trying to do. So having money in of itself is not selfish. Not choosing to spend it on others can be, or maybe that person that's definitely been down and out, you've been noticing they're sleeping by the dumpster the last 7 days, and they walk up to you and ask you for a $20 bill, and you've got all sorts of money and cash on you right now, and you could very easily give them a 20, but you choose not to because you don't want to. That's where you start getting into some of those selfish behaviors, where you're more focused on, I just don't want to, or, oh, you have your own problems, or, right? Like, you start to have kind of this, you start to separate them from you almost, right? You are kind of not willing to share. You're not willing to put yourself in that place where, what if that was me? I've been in situations like that. I've been homeless for a short period of my time, and when I was younger, like, things like that, you don't forget. You don't forget the feelings, the fear, the sheer just utter betrayal and loss. I mean, just the number of things that go through you. So when you're kind of coming at it from that standpoint, yeah, it's not real cool. But when it comes to manifesting, and I think this is where it's really good for many of us to pay attention, not your standard, helping someone that's in a hard time in their life, but really when we're trying to manifest, is the situation we're trying to manifest right now something that's selfish or something that's okay, like a little more on the quote altruistic side, even though it might not be, right? But again, is it selfish? Is it not? One of the easy ways to kind of look at it is how it affects other people. Maybe an example for a job, trying to manifest a job right now. Don't like the current job I have, and there's a particular job that I want. There's one in particular right now. Sue-Ann's doing it. I don't like Sue-Ann. Sue-Ann's a bit of a, she's not a nice person. So what I keep thinking in my manifesting process is I'd like to see Sue-Ann lose her job, quit, get fired. I want to see them offer me her job. I want to see that job be mine. Coming at it from that angle, it's a bit more on the selfish side. One, you have absolutely no concern whatsoever for this individual whose life would be changed by your manifestation. If you were to manifest this job and she's no longer doing it, what happens with her? And if your thought process is really, who cares about her, or she can go and pound sand, or I don't care, or I hope she loses her job. Like, when we start getting into stuff like that, you're being extremely selfish and kind of almost even creating karmic problems in some regards, but you're definitely coming at this from a very selfish standpoint and definitely not helping out your situation. That manifestation, trying to manifest somebody into oblivion so I can take their job, is not going to work as well as I'm interested in a job. Sue-Ann's currently doing the job. I don't like Sue-Ann. Sue-Ann is definitely not someone I enjoy. She's mean and rude, and I don't like her. So I would love to have her job. And what I'd like to see happen is for Joanne to move on to another job. I'd love to see Joanne move to another position. I'd love to see Joanne do something that maybe makes her happy because she's such a miserable person. I would love to see that happen, which then in turn creates this vacancy for me. When you're coming at it from that angle, there's a very much kind of concept of unity, of love, of the fact that this other person, whether I like them or not, has their own life, has their own energy. That's not selfish for me to want her position when I'm wanting well for her as well. When I'm wanting to see her successful in her endeavors as well. Even though I don't like her, even though I cannot stand talking to her, even though if it's only her in the break room and she hasn't seen me, sometimes I'll actually turn and walk the other way and not actually go in the break room because I don't want to see her. I don't actually know what Joanne or whatever the name was I made up, Sue-Ann, whatever her name was. I'm just making her up. But if we felt that strongly. And so when you're looking at a job, you're like, and if you want to keep it even more neutral and still on the better side, for the same situation, someone's filling your role. I don't particularly like her, but I think I would be a really good fit for this company if I were able to have that role, and I would like to see myself in that role. I would love it if something cool could happen with Sue-Ann so she could go to whatever she would like, whatever makes her happy. But I do think it's better for the company that I do that role. And I don't know. Sue-Ann's been doing it a long time. She doesn't seem like she likes it, but I don't know. But hopefully something wonderful happens with her too. Like, what's best for the company? And then again, you're still kind of thinking about it from the right angle. You're not necessarily wanting to take something away from somebody. You're not necessarily wanting somebody to experience some sort of bad experience, maybe because you have, maybe because your boss treated you crappy, so you want to see her get treated crappy too, so then you get to be the golden child, right? Like a lot of these little cat and mouse games that we can sometimes play. Now let's look at a relationship for similar kind of scenario that many of us might do. Maybe there's a third party. Maybe it's someone, I get the question a lot with like arranged marriages, apparently in India and stuff. You guys ask me a lot of like, well, how do I stop this? There's a lot of things that can happen, but obviously being in a situation where that can be held over your head is one thing you would want to change, right? Like to be in a position where someone could say, this is who you're going to marry, and you don't seem to have the power to say, no, I don't want to. Yeah, that's not a good thing. So anyway, that all being said, when we're trying to get into a relationship where there's someone else involved, there's a third party, there's maybe whatever, and we start looking at it from the standpoint of, I want this individual out of there, so they're out of my way. I don't care who or where they want to go. I don't like that person. I don't get along with that person. I want to manifest. Like I had one person that doesn't like the sibling of the person she's into, right? So she wants to manifest a life with this individual without the sibling ever around, which is kind of not cool if you think about it, right? Like I'm asking someone to never see their family member ever again because I don't like them. That's selfish, right? When we're coming at something from that angle, you're asking the universe to do something that's kind of not okay. In a general standpoint, siblings should be close together. Like me and my older brother right now maybe aren't talking. We'll eventually get there. My younger brother just spent the night last night. Like, whatever. Like, right? Siblings are siblings. That's part of life. But you should get along and you should definitely get to see each other from time to time. And if someone says you can't, well, that's not okay. So when we're trying to manifest a hole in someone's life, when we're trying to manifest someone out of somebody's life, and with no thought of their well-being, you're kind of coming at it from a selfish way. If I'm trying to manifest a person, they're in another relationship, and I just literally like, I want them to break up, and I want this man. I don't care. I want this man no matter what. And he may have a girlfriend right now or a wife or whatever, and maybe they have a kid together. And your whole focus is on manifesting them with you. That requires two other lives to change. Now, you can manifest that. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying be mindful of the others involved and help manifest, at least in your mind, a scenario where everybody gets to win, where everybody gets to benefit. Even if you don't like the person that you're trying to remove from the scene, wish them well. Nobody deserves a horrible life. Even if you've been hurt before, it's not okay to necessarily wish hurt on another. Now someone slapped you in the face and you slap them back. Well, now they've slapped you back. Now you slap them. Now we're in a slap fest. If someone slaps you once and you turn the other cheek and say, may I have another? Like, I got you. You're mad. You want to hit me again? Here. That's not how, you don't resolve it by turning it into a punching match. You resolve it by acknowledging the fact that something just went down and we need to address this discrepancy between us. Now, again, someone's being mean to you and punching you and hitting you. Yeah, defend yourself, please. Come on now. I'm not trying to say don't. I'm not trying to say you should always, just take the punch and then be like, all right, I'm the bigger person and I'm going to walk away and spit my teeth into my hand, right? Like, no. I mean, if your life's at threat, if your health is on the line, yeah, you defend yourself. I mean, come on. But we're trying to manifest situations in our life where there are others involved, where there's a larger picture, where there's a family member, where there's members of the family, where there's a friend that sometimes seems to get in the way. Let's manifest an outcome that works for all. And you can still remove somebody. You can still manifest them out of your life, but do it for them in a happy way, where they're finding their success, where this person that's annoying you has found a happy reason to move along and just not be in the environment anymore, not be in the situation. When we handle it from that standpoint, you're creating a very positive, a very loving, a very good energy kind of vibe. When you're wishing evil and horrible on people, you've got a dirty, yucky vibe. And I frequently talk about your vibe, your energy, your vibration, your frequency, whatever you're zing at. That's what you attract. That's how you attract. That's the law of attraction. Law of attraction is all about that feeling, right? Whatever that feeling is, you attract more of that similar vibration to you. So when you're in an awesome, wonderful, happy, good energy state, when you're very confident in yourself, when you realize you're the stuff and everybody should know it, it's when you come at life with that attitude that you walk into rooms and suddenly everyone turns and looks at you. It's when you realize people suddenly open the door for you as you're coming. It's when things suddenly out of the blue manifest, and that was just the thing I was thinking about yesterday. Your energy's so good, you're a winner. You're always winning. I hate to use the thing that Charlie Sheen was kind of famous for always saying, but winning, right? Like that whole stupid thing. But that's really, you walk around with that type of attitude, and these people do constantly walk around and experience winning because they believe they're constantly winning, and they are. And they feed that just constantly. So work on having that more altruistic view towards your manifestation. If there's others involved, if there's other people that you're trying to get out of the way, doing it from bitterness, remorse, bad feelings, not going to get you there. It's just not. It's not harmonious. That harmony is not in existence there, and you're not really creating a very attractive environment. You're actually creating more of a resistance to it. Embrace the fact that there's somebody in the way that's a contrast. That's fine. Let them on their merry way where they get to be happy and have what they're currently missing in their own new reality. And that maybe if there is a child, for example, that they're able to handle this, that this child had in part of their, development, this is going to be good, having these separate parents and whatnot. I mean, I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying, whatever. We're using an example. I'm rolling with it. But again, be larger with your thought process. If you're so focused solely on yourself and don't give a crud about what the other people are going through, you're making this more challenging for yourself. You're adding levels of difficulty to it when all you really need to do is open up your heart to the fact that it's another human being, even one that's maybe hurt you, rather than hurting them back, look at a way to imagine a life where they're not there and they're happier and better for it. And you will be amazed at how things start to happen in your life. Bitterness gets you nowhere. As they say, you'll attract more flies with honey than with vinegar. And as I've learned not too long ago, you can actually kill a goat with vinegar. Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Anyway, and please someone call me out on that if that's actually wrong. But I was actually told by someone that they used to kill the goat for the, the festival every year. And I'm like, how'd you kill the goat? That's got to be freaky. And she's like, just fed him vinegar. I'm like, really? I mean, a goat can eat a couch and survive. But somehow if I give him salad dressing, he's toast. He's done. Blows my mind. Hopefully this helps. Be positive. Look larger. Be helpful. Send love to everybody you're involved with. You will find greater things happen in life. Doors open up for you. When you constantly are struggling and fighting every step of the way, and it's always them and you and them and you and us against them, then you're creating more of that, and you're going to find that you're always fighting. Stop the fight. Love the people on their way out the door. Help them to the door happily, and then shut it behind them once they're gone. And be rid of it. Dan, RadioStyle.